Jar Oil. The company have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
Excellent jam, Suwaib.
Yo, apply. Yo, luta do de. Luta mo nulo jël moto nga andil ma xaalis. Hello?
Bisul mu fine.
What?
Bisul mu fine.
Oh, yes!
Wave Axina Gambia. Deposit and withdraw money, pay bills and buy mobile credit without fees. Transfer money wherever in the country for only 1% fee. At Wave. Bisul mu fine? Wave. Your money is yours.
Okay, so issues to address?
Yes, we've got updates from the Ministry of Trade and Employment on the recruitment of job seekers for the Kingdom of Spain under the bilateral labor agreement. I'm pleased to inform the public that the shortlisting of the applicants of Spain and Gambia bilateral agreement has been completed. The total number of applicants shortlisted were 1,050 out of the total of applicants of 10,111.
Oh, wow.
That's about 10%. The applicants shortlisted were those who have submitted the following authentic documents: valid passport for at least 1 year, certificate of character, and medical certificate. The ministry has also considered those who have experience in agriculture, especially in fruit gardening, with a certificate attached, and those married with children. The age limit is from 25 to 50 years. The total amount of applicants to be selected is 350 persons for the moment. The first phase of the interview was conducted. The total number of applicants interviewed were 116 persons. Out of these, 39 persons have been selected. The certificate of character and the medical certificates of the successful applicants have been submitted to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for translation to Spanish and to be authenticated. The 39 persons selected are all men, and we are informed that a number of women were also selected, but we are yet to receive the details of that selection from the Spanish. So the Spanish basically did the selection. The interview will continue when we receive more requests from Spanish authorities. The interview was conducted by 3 panels, one in Spain by video, one in the Spanish embassy, and one in Banjul. Oh. So this is updates from...
Very rigorous. Do we know whether the applicants have to pay anything? Translation?
No.
And
for the translation...
authentication?
I don't think so,
documents?
because there's the Labor Department that does that for them.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right, good.
So for that is done, and then we also have updates from government. I've got quite a few, but I'll just take the most that I think I should share.
You have time. Go through everything you have.
This is good news, though. And Peter, as you know, since independence, the Gambia has not had any significant investment in the water infrastructure of this country. I'm pleased to inform the public that a new water supply project was launched in Sifo on Saturday by His Excellency the President Adama Barrow. This is part of the WASIP initiative, and it's a transformative effort that will provide clean and safe drinking water to over 1 million Gambians in the Greater Banjul area and West Coast region. This is in line with the... Also, in line with this, the President also announced the separation of NAWEC into 2 entities. One will focus on water, and one will focus on electricity generation. I think this is good. This will transform the water sector.
So we're going to have 2 DGs, Director General Water, Director General Electricity.
Is it MD or DG?
Well, right now they have a DG.
Manawek is DG or MD?
Is it MD?
You know, this thing confuses me. We have DG, we have MD, we have...
Managing Director is
MD, so Managing
MD,
Director.
yes,
Then we have the GM. GM is this, like, Gamsel.
Yeah.
So Ganawek is not DG. I think it's Pura and is regulated under as DG, like Pura.
Which one is higher? Which one is higher?
I think
MD or DG?
I think MD is higher than GM. Because, like,
MD
for example, Gamtel, we have MD of Gamtel and GM of Gamsel. But DG and MD, to be honest, I'm not sure. I think they do different functions. I think the MDs are for the SOEs, like Gamtel, NAWEC, Ports Authority. These are the MDs. Like authority, or like DGs are for like Pura. I think NRA also is DG. I'm not sure. But again, like I said, There will be two entities. One will focus on water. One will focus on electricity. This is in line to promote efficiency in the supply of water and electricity. So I think this is good news. They'll build
It is good news.
They'll build massive boreholes, mega boreholes to provide water for the population.
Okay.
Now, also the president extended financial support totaling $1.4 million to 57 Gambian entrepreneurs in the tourism and hospitality sector. This is in the creative industries. It's part of the project called the Tourism Drive Diversification and Resilience Project. I think this was sponsored by the EU, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So that is also good news. Now, MECNA, I think you've announced that they have a new building, a new home, where they bring all their satellite institutions under one roof. A massive, very nice building in Abuko. That is also...
whenever I, have driven past that building in the past, I've always wondered. I mean,
who's building it?
What billionaire owns this building? Lo and behold, it was a government project.
The good thing is that it is solely sponsored from the GLF, by the Gambia government.
Very good.
No.
And the location of MECNA is good.
It is in Abuko.
Yes.
Yes, it is good. So apart from that, I think, Peter, we have another good news, which is from the Ministry of Health, that the Gambia government is getting 10 million euros grant from the German government to establish an ambulance command center. Not only that, it's also to build a multi-purpose surgical theater for open heart surgery and kidney transplantation at the Farad Hospital. So we are transforming also the health sector. You see, this government under the leadership of His Excellency President Barrow is really, and I said this before, this is what we call explosive development. Look at what we are doing in the energy sector, electricity, for example. We've transformed the electricity sector. Today, there's access, 70% access. Over 70% of communities in the country have access to electricity, and our target is by the beginning of 2026, we'll go 100%, which we call universal access. Communities will have electricity. Amount of roads we've built, over 1,000 kilometers of roads, and we've also commissioned under 500 kilometers of roads across the country. So roads wouldn't be an issue. Water as well. We've launched $59.1 million water project to ensure that every Gambian has access to clean drinking water. Look at the healthcare sector. Look at the transformations happening there. Imagine having ambulance command centers across the country where you'll sit in a community and call a number, and an ambulance will come and pick you and take you to the nearest hospital.
We need ambulance first.
Yes, we have ambulances. We've just procured about 39 or 37 ambulances recently, and we are working on that. And this project will also help towards that. But also we are going to create a multi-purpose surgical theater to do open heart surgery and kidney transplantation, which is unprecedented in this country. So I think definitely, Peter, we're on a course to transform this country at a level that we've never witnessed before.
It's what Barrow was elected for.
Yes, but he's delivering as well. So I think these are a new airline also was launched, but I don't want to do advert for that.
That's advertising. I mean, it's not owned by it's not owned by
no,
government.
It's not. Yes, it's not. So I wouldn't want to do advertising.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's
not.
fine.
Absolutely not.
Those are the updates from. I've got more, but I think those are the key ones.
Okay, I'll read you this one. It's relative to the water project. Good morning, Peter. It appears that the newly commissioned water project for the Greater Banjul area is interrupting water supply in the Nema area of Brikama for more than 12 hours. Yesterday, there was no water. This is being experienced this morning again.
I'm not sure if it's connected. But if it's connected, it's part of the job. Sometimes to develop, you need to disrupt. Imagine building new Battle Harding Highway. There was a period when they closed the road, so people couldn't access it, and we had to use other routes as well. So, I mean, if it's connected, then it's normal that when you develop a system, you need to disrupt existing systems, and people have to be patient with those disruptions.
Query coming in from Spain. Hello, Uncle Peter. Please, can you ask the minister about the machine-readable passport, whether they are whether it is operational? My passport expired 6 months ago. I have submitted it for renewal. The receipt is with me. Even as I type, I am told they still haven't started printing.
No, they've started printing. In fact, when you sent me a message this morning regarding this particular issue, and I engaged the minister again, they are doing the backlogs at the moment because there are lots of backlogs when the machine was out of order. And now they're doing the backlogs, so they're not taking any new application. But the machine is functioning and they're printing the backlogs. That I can assure them.
Good morning, Uncle Peter. When I hear Dr. Cisse say that this government is the most transparent in terms of fighting corruption in the history of this country, I'm worried because the yardstick he is using is very low. The government should be measuring itself with countries in the sub-region.
But in the sub-region, I don't know what's happening in Sierra Leone and Senegal and Guinea-Bissau. This is our closest sub-region. What I can speak for is the Gambia and the measures we have taken to promote transparency and accountability in this country. And like I said, Peter, we've taken measures that has never happened before in this country in terms of strengthening the National Audit Office and giving them the latitude to do their job and audit every MDA as they deem fish and publish those reports, and also take action by forwarding cases to the police for prosecution. That has never happened before. We've also strengthened the procurement laws in this country to ensure that there is value for money. We've also strengthened the PPP unit to make sure that there is also value for money. We've digitized as well. You see what GRA is doing today. They've digitized totally to ensure that today they are really delivering and achieving their targets in terms of revenue generation. And also for the first time, and I'm going to argue this again, we are going to implement an anti-corruption law in this country with commissioners who will ensure they fight corruption in this country. And at the Ministry of Information, we've taken measures and initiatives to promote transparency. We engage in proactive disclosure. We have also brought in a law called the Access to Information Law, where every citizen can write to an information holder and request for information. This has never happened before. This is transparency. So we've taken measures to promote transparency. And I think, Peter, I'm comparing it to what existed before. Before this government, these things never existed. You couldn't request for information from a public officer. There was no law for that. There was no anti-corruption commission to be established. The procurement rules were flouted day and night. I mean, public officials just giving an information to one person could land you in prison. That is not happening anymore. Public officials are transparent. We know what government is doing. We update the public every day what the government is up to. So there is transparency as never before. I cannot compare to the sub-region. I don't know what's happening in Bissau and Sierra Leone and Guinea-Conakry and Mali and Burkina Faso. I don't know what's happening there. What I can say is that in the Gambia, we've taken measures and steps to promote transparency and accountability, and the measures we've taken have not been taken before since this country became independent. And that is a fact.
It's 9:38 on Tuesday, the 20th of May, 2025. It's Coffee Time with Peter Gomez, featuring the Minister of Information, Media and Broadcasting Services, Dr. Ismaila Cisse. Some people, are very insistent. Here's a message that was first sent to me on Friday, the 29th of November, which I wasn't able to read. It was resent on Monday, the 10th of March. It's again sent this morning. So I'm going to read it, and hopefully you will have a comment or two about it. There is a petroleum prophecy concerning the Gambia that there is a timetable where millions of barrels of oil along the coast will be exported. By then, there will be super high income levels. I should be saying amen to this, but what do you know about this?
Well, I don't know anything about this. What I know, that's global about the price of petrol oil. But for Gambia, to be honest, I don't know anything about petroleum. This is beyond me.
Okay. Good morning, Peter. The introduction of monitoring content compliance is long overdue. This will help to eradicate bad journalism in the Gambia. From Mr. Njai in Kololi. Is there bad journalism in this country?
Well, we as a ministry, our mandate or one of our priorities is to promote good journalism. One of our mandates is to create.
So it means there is bad journalism.
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that is to ensure that we have a journalist core which is ethical, professional, but also competent. That is why every opportunity we have in terms of training, we accord it to journalists. We also try to use our office to find ways to send them out to go and learn from other countries. That is what is important. Now, the platform is focusing on content. Yes, it monitors content, it stores content, to promote media freedom in this country, but also to protect the citizens of this country. And I think, yes, we have challenges in terms of journalists, because some of our journalists are still young, not very experienced, but I think they are doing what they can do. The country is ours, and I think all of us should work together to build the country. Whether you are a journalist or a minister or a teacher or a nurse, I think all of us have to do what we can do to promote the sectors that we are working in. But like I said, the purpose of this platform is not to stifle media freedom. It's not to inhibit any media activity. The purpose is to protect citizens, but also to promote media freedom.
Before Alaji brought it up this morning, I mean, do you think all media houses were aware of this monitoring platform?
Well, it is housed at Pura. I'm not sure whether Pura has really informed the media houses. It's a very good question you've brought up. I think it is, I mean, they should be informed that this is happening. I'm not sure whether that has been done, so I cannot answer to that. I'll engage Pura immediately after this to see what has been done to ensure that media houses know that such a platform exists.
Hi, Uncle Peter. Good morning. I really admire Dr. Ismaila Cisse. I like him so much. How much did you pay him, this person, to send us that message? Somebody is insisting on calling my line. When I'm on, I don't take calls. And again, personal, messages will not be condoned. I cannot understand Ismaila. He will at times say within the sub-region and claims he knows them and will be comparing to the Gambia. And some other days he will say, I don't know what is happening in the sub-region.
What I'm saying, it depends on specifically on the issue of transparency and accountability. That's what I mean. Other issues, I know what's happening in the sub-region. When it comes to transparency and accountability, I don't know what's happening in Senegal with regards to that, or in Guinea-Bissau, Conakry, and I'm being very honest on this. Some issues I know, I cannot know everything that's happening in the sub-region. In this particular issue, I don't know how it is working in Mali, Burkina Faso, Senegal, Guinea-Bissau, Conakry, Sierra Leone, Liberia, I don't know. On other issues I know, the issue I know, I speak about. The issue I don't know, I say I don't know.
Usman Drame, regular contributor from Brikama. Hello, Uncle Peter. National Assembly members are immune from any form of civil or criminal liability for any utterances made before the floor of the Assembly. So that is a bad example. I brought the issue of someone calling, or using, cockroaches and mice in the context of protests.
Yes, but like I said, is it illegal to use that word, generally speaking? Is there any law which is that if you call someone a cockroach, you will be charged in a court of law? I don't know. But like I said, the gentleman here, Honorable Cisse, I'm not speaking for him. It's not my job to speak for him. But what I understand from what he was saying was that the New Democracy is also in a situation where now every Tom, Dick and Harry, he did not use Tom, Dick and Harry, he said every cockroach and mice goes out to protest. And he wasn't specifically referring to these young people who came out to protest.
Yeah, because the use particularly of the word cockroach is very sensitive.
I understand that.
People would always, hark back to...
Think of Rwanda,
exactly.
The genocide. I agree with you. Yes, I agree with you. That's why I said the word, the use of those terms was tasteless.
Yeah.
And I think the National Assembly, in fact, apologized on his behalf. And I think he also kind of apologized. So, matters should be closed.
Yeah, all right. Good morning, Uncle Peter. Can you please ask the ministers to clear the air about the following, that right now it is impossible to obtain the following documents: machine-readable passport, national ID cards, driver's licenses, vehicle registration number plates, water meters, electricity meters. How is this acceptable?
Let's start with the first one. MRP passports are being printed now. That was an issue, yes, technical issue, but now they've been printed and they are working on the backlogs. Because when you have a backlog of applicants and it starts working, you need to first clear those backlogs. That is working. When it comes to number plates,
national ID card.
National ID cards. Last week I know someone who got national ID card in Canifing, so they're printing national ID cards.
So they've started.
Of course, yes.
Because
in fact, I know someone personally who went to Canifing and he applied, and he'll get his ID card this week. It takes about a week or two to give you the ID card, but they are printing ID cards.
Okay.
That one I can also assure you.
Okay.
Number plates, the ministry...
driver's license?
Driver's license, I don't know, to be honest. I cannot speak on that. I need to find out after here, so I cannot speak on that. I'm going to just confirm the ones that I know really are being now issued.
Okay, now number plates.
Number plates, they are being issued because the ministry just acquired a minivan for the staff. And we just got a new number plate. So number plates are being issued. I've not seen anybody having issued with number plates. So for that one, I think they are being issued number plates.
Water meters, electricity meters.
Water meters, electricity meters, I'm not sure. I can also find those ones out from NAWEC. But those ones I cannot speak for. The water meters, electricity meters, and driver's licenses, I need to find out more information on that. But the others, I can assure the public that they are being issued.
Greetings, Uncle Peter and Honorable Minister Sise. Please tell Minister Bakari Y. Baji to continue pressing hard for the approval of Sports Tribunal Court. The bill is currently tabled at the National Assembly. Athletes of this country are suffering at the hands of various sports associations or federations, clubs, and football agents.
Well, I'll refer that to the Minister of Youth and Sports, Bakari Y. Baji, Honorable Bakari Y. Baji.
You don't know anything about this?
No, I've not heard about it before.
Peter, can you ask the minister about Dictator Jammeh's music system, which was next to none in West Africa? It has never been mentioned anywhere.
I have no idea. I have no idea.
This was a massive musical
instrument.
Yes.
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure if it's one of those assets sold by the Jammeh Commission or Augustus Prom. I don't know, to be honest. I have no idea.
We need to find out.
Yeah,
so this is specific. So the music system.
But I think the good thing is, like the president said, Peter, in his speech, there'll be accountability. There'll be a parliamentary inquiry. I think the parliamentary inquiry will help us unearth a lot of these things that are still pending, these information gaps that are happening surrounding Jammeh's assets. The inquiry will really help us unearth and also to get a better understanding of some of these issues. So I'm hopeful that that will happen at that time.
Peter, can the minister explain why the IGP and the government lack the moral value to enforce the law of insults against FJC following her unprovoked direct insult of UDP sitting National Assembly members and their membership in general, and before her, that Bahum fella? Why this selective justice when they just arrested Alhaji Jikiba Ture of UDP for his words against the Fullers? I didn't know about this Alhaji Jikiba. What's the story behind
I have
him?
no idea about Alhaji Jikiba.
You don't have any idea about it?
No, I've never heard about it. For the FJC, I cannot speak for FJC. I cannot speak for the police. The police are the police. Like I said, these are operational issues. If the police see wrongdoing by any citizen, they'll have to take action, and they will take action. If there's wrongdoing in this matter, the police will take action. So I don't think it's wise for us to preempt or to interfere in the work of the police.
Hi, good morning, Uncle Peter. Can you ask Dr. Ismaila? Many individuals in our communities have spent over $100,000 to purchase poles to access electricity. Now, more people are benefiting from these same poles by connecting to the line. What can be done to ensure fairness? Can NAWEC reimburse part of the cost, or can new customers be required to contribute to the pole cost to compensate the original buyers?
Well, I think in any product, that is what is happening. When iPhones just come out, they are very expensive after 2-3 years. So the first buyers always pay the highest price. That happens in economics. So for that one, I don't think there'll be reimbursement. What I can also confirm is that while the World Bank projects are, the meter price have been brought down from I think $10,000 to I think $500 is to promote universal access. So for this one, there's only NAWEC that can respond to that, but I don't think so.
Axila jam si Wave.
Yo, apply. Yo, luta do de. Luta mo nulo jël moto nga andil ma xaalis. Hello?
Bisul mu fine.
What?
Bisul mu fine.
Oh, yes!
Wave Axina Gambia. Deposit and withdraw money, pay bills and buy mobile credit without fees. Transfer money wherever in the country for only 1% fee. Ak Wave. Bisul mu fine? Wave. Your money is yours.
Jar Oil. The company have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
The Barronomics government should not sell the properties of the former president Jammeh. They should rather use those properties and put them into public use, like using some of his lands to build a standard stadium, construct big houses with different apartments that will be used for rent to house, poor Gambians with affordable prices, and let them build food processing industries that can produce finished goods, so that the industries can back our agriculture, because we produce a lot of cash crop and vegetables, and all this will contribute to the reduction of unemployment rate in the country, and it will also boost our economy.
I think he's right, and I think he's just saying what the government has done. Not all of Jammeh's properties are being sold. Some of them have been kept for public use. The land in Farato that is being used now to build the hospital is part of the Jammeh assets. The land used in Farato, that mega poultry farm there, is also...
So 2 lands in Farato?
They are very close. They're attached together. The Legal Council NALA, National Aid Legal Secretariat.
I think it's Nala. The other one is Gala. Sorry, I thought
National Aid... National Secretary for Legal Aid, National something for Legal Aid.
Okay.
The former observers where they are housed.
Okay.
And there are still properties that are still intact. They've not been sold yet. And the government is in possession of those properties. So, and it's been kept for public use. So yes, he's right. Government is aware of this, and government has a foresight to understand that some of these properties should not be sold off and should be kept for public use, and they have been kept for public use. Remember also that he's talking about investment, which is important. All the land within the TDA that was forfeited from Jammeh are being handed over to Gambia Tourism Board, which is a competent authority.
All the land?
Within the TDA.
Okay.
It's been handed back. Now, agricultural land has been kept under the Ministry of Agriculture. That is why they are part of the task force. But also some of the communities that gave Jammeh some of the product, they got back that land, back to the communities. So it's not like we've not sold everything. The government hasn't sold everything. No, there are still, some have been returned back to their communities. Some have been kept for agricultural use. They are not being sold. Some are still within the TDA. They have been kept for future investment within the TDA. But some are still in government posts. They are not being sold. And government will make sure that they use it wisely for public use. Remember, the president has said in his speech that these assets, the assets of former Jammeh, belong to the Gambian people. And we will use it to provide services for the Gambian people.
So the only thing perhaps that was completely sold off were the cars? The vehicles.
No, some properties were sold off, like by the.
I'm referring specifically to vehicles.
Yeah, for the vehicles, yeah, they are all sold off, except those that I showed last week that are currently at the. There are some at the Carnifing garage. Some vehicles are there still.
In good order?
I think some of them have issues. These are mostly Land Cruisers and all that. They are in Carnifing at the garage. In fact, I'll send a camera there to also show those ones. And we saw the Hummer limousines at the State House, the so-called motor biscuit. We saw it. They're all at the State House. It's about 8 or 9 or 10. There are 11 vehicles altogether. Some of them are these long limousines with other marks, but the Hummer vehicles are also there. So it's not like all the cars were sold. But the Jammeh Commission, like I said, sold off some cars, quite a lot of the cars and the tractors. And the Sheriff's Division sold off the cows. And I think now the question is the manner in which they were sold. So I think the parliamentary inquiry will help us have a better understanding after who sold what, how, and when. That will be very clear.
Or who bought? Who bought the cows?
Or who bought the cows? That also will be clear. That will be very clear with the parliamentary inquiry. So yes, I think for this one now, the president came out, he spoke, he assured Gambians that there will be accountability, and there will be accountability.
Hi, good morning, Peter. The best information minister Gambia ever had is Dr. Cisse. The president did the right thing by appointing him information minister. I'm sure he does. He wants to go high up. Maybe foreign minister one day?
Well, I'm focused on my job as information minister, and I deliver to the best of my ability.
Hi, Uncle Peter. Ask the minister, what about the staff of Ocean Bay Hotel versus Social Security case?
That one is still pending. I made a follow-up, and I in fact spoke to the gentleman who sent this text before. I spoke with him. can't remember exactly how we left off, but I'll make another follow-up from here as well on that case.
Considering the risks of closing a major highway and the inconveniences posed to the citizenry, what is the rationale behind the granting of permits for the closure of Kairaba Avenue for a Yusundur free concert?
Well, I don't know. It's normal that whenever there's an event, sometimes you get a permit. If the permit is sought and permit is given to close the highway for a particular event, I see nothing wrong with that. It happens everywhere in the world. In New York, even a private event, they can close the road for you as long as you pay the right price. Here, I'm not saying that you did pay for that. What I'm saying is that closing of roads for events is normal in any society as long as it follows law and order.
Buba Fadera from Bakote. Good morning, Uncle Peter. Censorship of online media platforms and the entire process is dictatorship in the making. Why is the government scared of media platforms? We are in a democratic country which is enjoying every democratic day after dictatorship.
But the platform is not monitoring and storing from online media because they are not licensed. It's only licensed media entities, that is radios and televisions. So not online media. So there's no online censorship here. I think that needs to be very clear. These are licensed entities in line with the law. And these are part of the licensing conditions. Now, online media is not licensed, so they are not monitored. They are not part of this platform.
Hi, West Coast Radio. Kindly ask this question to the Honorable Minister of Information, Dr. Ismail Assise. How much is the Gambia currently investing in technology and digital infrastructure? We are keen to understand the government's commitment to innovation and the digital economy.
In terms of the amount of money, I cannot say exactly how much, but I know that government is very, very serious. This is part of our national development plan, to promote digitization in this country. That is why the government has even now established a new entity called GICTA, the Gambia ICT Agency, which will lead all digitally related projects in this country. I think that is the operational arm of MOGDI. And I think government is digitizing. Government is serious about digitization. We are really doing very well in that front. One day, I'm looking forward to bringing the MOGDI minister here. He's never been here before. I'm meeting him later. I'll speak to him if he's available.
Actually, some journalists were chasing him in the past few days about this Starlink report doing the rounds, and somehow they all say, well, he's not been accessible.
If he is available on Tuesday, I'd suggest that he comes next Tuesday.
Yeah, he needs to address this Starlink allegation.
And also other issues. I think he's doing a fantastic job at the ministry. It's important for him to come and tell Gambians the work he's doing at this ministry. It's good because if you are doing a good job, you need to come and speak to Gambians the kind of good work you are doing. So I'll suggest to him that he comes on Tuesday. And I can be excused on Tuesday.
It's okay. Yeah. It's okay. He could even come on another day. We'll give him enough time. Hello, Uncle P. Thumbs up to Dr. Cisse for ensuring due process will be followed in the sale of Jammeh's assets. I have two questions. Why did the government withhold the report on the sale of Jammeh's properties until the investigation of the Republic came up? Can Dr. Cisse clarify whether the president is trying to protect certain members from his first term? Lastly, once the investigation into all the assets purchased is complete, will the government take firm action, especially with the elections approaching?
I can guarantee you that the president has made a commitment to take firm action.
He's made commitments before that we still think, he's dragging his feet over.
Specifically?
Abasanyang.
But it's in the courts.
Yeah, that's the excuse.
But the courts are independent.
Maybe you people are not pushing hard enough.
But the courts are independent. The president cannot interfere in court procedures. What the government can do is the state can prosecute, but the courts,
the same thing. You could be found, and then you go to court, and then the question becomes, well, the government is willing to take action against Dr. Cisse, but the courts are the problem.
No. What I'm saying is that it's a democracy, and in a democracy, there are three arms of government. There are separation of powers. Government, central government, this cannot be seen. Executive cannot be seen to interfere in the judiciary and how they do their work. These are proceedings that are going on. Government cannot interfere in that process. So what is important is that government has taken action and prosecuted Mr. Sanyang, and I think it's for the courts to do their job now. So you cannot blame the executive for that. And I can tell you that the president made a commitment that all those found wanting in this inquiry and in the sale of Jammeh assets will face the full force of the law. He made that commitment, and when the president makes commitments, he always follows up with those commitments. Now, when it comes to the issue about let me just make this clarification, Peter. When the Jammeh Commission finished their work, They submitted a 9-volume report to the president. In this 9-volume report, there is nowhere in this report which talks about the sale of the Jame assets. It's not there.
You've read through the whole 9 volumes.
I've not reported all 9 volumes, but the Ministry of Justice has confirmed to me.
Well, this is the same Ministry of Justice that said this information was not for public consumption.
No.
And after the heat piled by the Republic...
But this report is online. This report is in the Ministry of Justice's website. All the volumes are there. They are nowhere in this. The Jame Commission submitted a report, but never submitted a report on the sale of the Jame asset. It's not there. And you cannot give what you don't have. In fact, let me tell you something, Peter. The recent... the list that was released insofar as these sales are concerned, by the Minister of Justice, they did not get them from the Jane Commission. They got them from those who did the sales. So the Jane Commission did not do a good job in providing a detailed report of the sales. They did not. They still haven't done that. And that is a fact. And the minister cannot, the government cannot give what we don't have. What the government has, which is in the records and which was given to the National Assembly.
So the Jane Commission failed the nation.
Of course, yes. They did not. They submitted a comprehensive report of the Jane but they never submitted a report, a detailed. No report was submitted on the sales. They did not report that. Now, secondly, also, what the government had was the sales of the properties done by the receiver or the auctioneer, Alpha Capital. Those ones the government had, and this was submitted to the National Assembly. But when it comes to the tractors and the cows and the vehicles, nothing was submitted to the government. It wasn't there, and still they haven't. The only thing, and the Minister of Justice got these through the those who took part in the sales. They just collated here and there recently when this thing blew up. And I think Mustafa did a good job in asking those critical questions, which now led to, obviously, government cannot run away from responsibility. The oversight institution responsible over the Jane Commission was the Minister of Justice. At that time, they could have, even if the Jane Commission did not submit the report, they could have asked them to submit the report. But that did not happen at that time. This was in 2019. So what I'm trying to explain here is that there was no report submitted on the sale of the Jane of the Jane conducted by the Jane Commission to the government. So government cannot give what they don't have. What we have was the sales done by Alpha Capital, which was everything was intact, was transparent, everything was given to government, and that one the Minister of Justice submitted to the National Assembly at that time.
Can you clarify whether the president, as requested by the texter, is trying to protect certain members from his first term?
No way. The president will not protect anybody, and I've said that here before. And I'll repeat it here before. The president has no interest in protecting anyone. Because the president, even those who bought to be honest, Peter, you saw the list. The president will not protect anyone. The president did not know how this, it's not his job. In a democrat, there are institutions. The Jane Committee did the sales.
Whose feeling is that? The previous Minister of Justice?
Well, what I'm saying, the Ministry of Justice, I cannot go into personality. The Ministry of Justice failed in their oversight at that time to ensure that the Jane Commission submits a comprehensive report of the sales.
In other words, bad timing. Because if I ask you whether it's Jallo, you would say definitely he wasn't there.
In this case, Peter, the Minister of Justice has oversight function over the Jane Commission. At that time, if they failed to submit a report of sales that the ministry knew they did, they could have held them to account at that time, but that did not happen. Now it's happening, and we are holding them to account, and there will be an inquiry, and everything will be clear.
Uncle Peter, please ask the minister why the government didn't convert Kanilai into a safari park with all the wildlife that was there, but rather scrambled and shared everything. Now we have to go to Fatala, Senegal, to watch a few lions.
Well, I don't know what happened in Kanilai. I don't know what was there, what wasn't there. But if it's a brilliant idea, it could have changed. It could have really been a game changer in the tourism sector.
We had another question about the closure of Kairaba Avenue for an event. We'll move on. I would like to know who bought the cows and whether Hamad Ba's lawyer has sued the Republic journalist as he threatened.
Hamad Ba never threatened to sue the Republic journalist. So that should be clear.
Who did he threaten to sue then?
He threatened to sue Pamodu Bojang of Mbekering. So not the Republic journalists. Now the cows who bought them, I'll give you an important piece of information. That question should be asked to I don't know his name, the Manding King.
Who's Manding King?
The Manding King, I think his name is Kora. He was there when these things were being sold. In fact, he was setting the prices. We came to understand. He's a UDP guy. He's from Basse, I think. He was there when the cars were being sold. Like I said, the inquiry will unearth all these things, and you will.
Why are you afraid to name the person?
I don't know. I can't remember his name. I think it's called the Manding King something. I can't remember his name, Peter, to be honest. What I can tell you is that he's a UDP. He's in the UDP. He was there. He was, in fact, determining the prices of the cows. That's what we came to understand. That is why I said, Peter, the inquiry will be very, very interesting. It will unearth a lot of unexpected revelations. So we can ask him, they can ask him who bought the cows and how they were being bought. But like I said, the cows, the tractors, the cars were not sold by central government. And central government is not aware of those sales, how they were being done. It was done purely by the Janet Commission, and they had the legal mandate to do it at that time because they were an independent institution. Now we are going to hold them to account as a government. That is why we are setting up the inquiry to find out who did what, when, and how. And anybody who is found wanting to have done any wrongdoing in this case will face the full force of the law.
Good morning, Peter. The side roads on the Bertil-Harding Highway from the Logic petrol station towards Kotu Police and from the Kairaba Standard Bank towards GNPC petrol station are being cleared and sections already fenced off. Can the minister update us as to the works going on? Are they part of the planned road works extension?
Yes, of course, the phase 3 has started. Like I said, these are going to be the side roads, the service roads on the side. There will be 4 extra lanes, so altogether be 10 lanes on the OIC highway, plus the pedestrian bridges, plus the another roundabout, another bridge, overhead flyer at Sukuta Jabang traffic light. So that work has started in earnest. And that is also good news. Some issues, they keep coming until, you give an answer. Good morning, Uncle Peter. I'm making a follow-up through the Minister of Information in connection with the payment owed to teachers of TOT on Wolof National Anthem for the Independence Celebration. He promised to inquire how far. I could send him all information through you. Well, I did. I engaged the minister last week, and she says she's not aware of this. So I don't know. She's not aware? She told me yes. I asked her, and she says she's not aware of this. So let me know who was in charge, who was supervising this, and who contracted them. If I know, perhaps I can find out. But as far as the Minister of Basic Education is concerned, she says she's not aware of this.
Dr. Cisse, if I were in authority, I would put every single person involved in the sale of Jamia's properties in the same room and demand they answer clearly and publicly what was sold, to whom, by whom, for how much, and under what authority. Why hasn't this level of accountability been enforced? And when will the Gambian people get the full truth out in the open?
Well, like I said, there are procedures in a democracy. First, there will be an inquiry, and this inquiry, parliamentary inquiry, the committee will have the power to summon anybody to come and answer questions, and that is what he wants, for people to come and be asked questions. You cannot put them in the same room, obviously, but I think for governments to get the information they need, this inquiry will be very useful. They can call on anybody to come and answer questions. And I think government should be patient at the moment. We will get to the bottom of this, and that everything that has happened will be revealed in due course, and action will be taken. That is all we can say for now.
Omar Balde, Farato. Uncle Peter, let the minister know that if the president protects moguls in the sale of the assets in his first term, he will be the one held accountable. And we all know how that ends.
See, the president never got involved in the sale of Jamia. He never tried even to influence it. He has no say or hand in it. In fact, you see, he allows institutions to work and function in a democracy without interfering in their work. So that one I can assure the public. The Janet Commission sold off some assets. The ministerial task force, to the minister, appointed a receiver to sell the non-movable properties, and this was in a transparent manner. So the president has no say in this. The president has other issues. I mean, he delegates responsibility, and people have to do their work, and that is what he believes in. But the president has no say in this. He never influenced. He never even tried to influence it. and he never even try to protect anybody, and he will not even try to protect anybody. The president has the interests of Gambians at heart, and he will do anything to ensure that those interests are promoted.
I asked about, the applicants to Spain, possibly incurring any costs. Your colleague minister, Babakar Oju, big fan of this program. He says the successful applicants heading to Spain have no financial obligation regarding this mission, even their return air tickets.
Yes, that is true.
Well, so, this is information you didn't.
And thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Thank you for.
You didn't have before. Hello, Uncle Peter. Please tell the Honorable Minister it is high time for the government to start sending our healthcare workers to be more knowledgeable in their work. I suppose this has to do with in-service training.
Yes, I think
continuous development.
The Gambia has done a very good job under the President's leadership to establish a postgraduate program at the EFSTH, where now we train our own consultants and specialists, where now this will produce a reservoir of skilled medical doctors in different specialities to be deployed to different health centers and hospitals across the country. We don't have no more have to rely on foreign technical support. So I think we are doing very good in that. We are very good. We have a very professional medical cadre, and are doing a very good job. I mean, I normally visit public health centers, and the treatment and the reception I receive there is always professional. So I think we should thank those healthcare workers for sacrificing on a daily basis in ensuring that they deliver healthcare service to the Gambian people. Yes, professional development is important, and I think it's always being done where it is possible.
By the way, thank you for helping send our Esa Ba to China. As part of his series of reports, we ran one this morning where he spoke to a master's student, Gambian student in China, a lady. And one line she said was, the Chinese never bend their rules for anyone. It's one rule for everybody. Some of these listeners, they are smart. They pick up things quickly. So this texter says, hello, Uncle Peter. We are sick and tired of government officials coming to your noble program and say things that don't exist for political gain. Gambia should learn from China by executing corrupt officials because corruption is a crime against humanity.
Well, every country has its laws. In the Gambia, we don't execute people for corruption. That law doesn't exist. So obviously, when law doesn't exist, we cannot have it. All we do is prosecute, and you make sure that you face the full force of the law within the framework, obviously, of the law. So we cannot do things that are not in our law.
Okay. And from Pura, we are writing to all broadcasting stations to officially inform them of the system.
Someone wrote that from Pura.
Rodin Renna.
Okay, brilliant. Thanks, Rodin.
It's not just someone.
That's why I said
I don't make things up.
That was a good question. I told you that they really should have done that if they haven't done it, but I'm happy that they've done it, or they are doing it.
So why didn't the government ask for a report from the Janet Commission before disbanding it? You were telling us that they submitted this 9-volume whatever.
Report.
Yeah.
But in this report, there was no report on a detailed report on the sale of the assets, the loose assets of Jame. And like I said, this was a failure on the part of the Ministry of Justice at that time, which had oversight function over the Janet Commission.
Still on this new water thing, this person who complained about not having water for 12 hours yesterday, and the problem has continued this morning. I thought it would have been wise to connect with the current system first before commissioning the new project. Racing against election every year, thus creating this unfortunate incident. So he is linking, this, big, inauguration ceremony as...
No, like I said, Peter, I'm not even sure whether his lack of water or her lack of water has to do with the project. To be honest, I don't even know. I'm not sure there's a connection there. So really, to be honest, it would be very unfair to speak on that. Maybe there are other reasons why there's no water in his area, and I think he should call NAWEC and find that out. But I'm not sure if it's connected to really the ongoing works. It could be anything.
So it's 10:15 already. Can't believe the time flies so quickly. I'll make this the absolute last. Apology to those of you who may have sent us text messages. He wants to be here the whole day. I can't keep him here the whole day, even if he wants. Please ask Dr. Ismail Cisse, how long should we wait for this new commission? This is the anti-corruption commission set up by the president, to start working. It's not fair at all if they're trying to drag this for weeks now.
Like I said, we live in a democracy, and in democracy there are separation of powers. These are fundamental principles in democracy. The executive, the judiciary, and the legislature. This inquiries with the National Assembly, which is legislature. The executive cannot interfere in their job, otherwise they'll be seen to be interfering in the job of an independent arm of government. So we will have to allow and trust the institutions of this country and allow us to do their job. I know the men, not women, the men that are being selected.
Is it fair that they left women out?
Well, I'm someone who likes to promote gender parity. But to be honest, when it comes to certain issues, Peter, I go more for competence and those who can do the job.
Oh, come on.
To
You
say,
can't
I'm not saying that it's not a no. I'm not saying that
you have to make that absolutely clear.
I'm not saying there is no competent woman in the National Assembly. What I'm saying is that when a committee is selected, I don't go and say, well, that should be a woman by force because that should be just for the purpose, that should be a woman. The most important thing is that the men that are being selected are competent men who I hold in high regard, and I think they will deliver. For me, that is what is it. For me, is to deliver. That is what is important. Now, whether there's a woman there or not, I don't think that should be the debate. The debate should be, can these men who are selected deliver the job that they've been tasked to do? For me, that is what is important. So I don't think sometimes we need to play politics here. Just because there should be a woman, you put a woman there who would bring no value. I'm not saying there's a woman in us who can bring value. The manner of the selection perhaps made it impossible for them to have a woman in the committee. If that is the case, no problem. These men can do the job, and that's what is important. But coming back to the question is that we need to allow them to do their job. We need to trust our institutions. We need to trust the people who represent us in parliament. That is why we elect them to go there. That is why when they go there, we don't call them by their names. We call them, even if you look at their name plaques, their names are not there. It's Serekunda East, Serekunda West, because the constituent, the people in the constituents where they come from, trust them to go and represent them. So they've been selected to do a job. Let us give them a chance to do their job. And we can hold them accountable if they fail to do so.
Fantastic. Dr. Cisse, you can see tons of messages still untouched. But as I say, you have other business to do. Thank you very much. It's always engaging when Dr. Cisse is on. That brings us to the end of the program today.
Jar Oil. The company have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
Excellent jams, Wave.
Yo, apply. Yo, luta do dede. Luta mo nulo jël moto nga andil ma xaalis. Hello? Ano lay waxal?
Busel mu fine.
What?
Busel mu fine.
Oh, yes!
Wave Gambia. Deposit and withdraw money, pay bills and buy mobile credit without fees. Transfer money wherever in the country for only 1% fee. At Wave, Busel mu fine. Wave, your money is yours.